Hello everybody, I am in Ephesus today, and this is absolutely one of the most impressive Roman sites that you can see in the world. Now of course, you know I've spent pretty much most of my professional life wandering around archaeological digs. Ephesus is one that continues to be exhilarating in my opinion because you absolutely can't find anything quite like it. If you want to talk about well preserved, of course we have Pompeii. If you want to talk about something that has a lot of bones left, of course we can talk about Ostia. But in terms of an entire city that is relatively well preserved, it's quite hard to find something that can match Ephesus. I'm here today with my friend Taylan, who is our Turkey tour guide expert, and he is running all of our Turkey itineraries, and he's giving an excellent tour of the ruins with my group, and it's been a lot of fun because we're kind of tag teaming. I have a few things I like to add, and we're just kind of digging into ancient Roman history. Now, if you don't know much about Roman history, but you are interested in religion, you go to church often, you know about this place also because it's the book of Ephesians. You've probably heard of it, the letters to the Ephesians, right? So Saint Paul, I believe, and John. John is for sure the saint we hear a lot about here in Turkey. We visited Mary's house earlier today because they say at the end of her life, when the persecution of the Christians really started, they brought her here and hid her in the hills up above the city of Ephesus. So walk with me for just a few minutes and we'll get a beautiful view of some of the most incredible ruins you will find anywhere in the Roman world. Now remember, this is the Eastern Roman world. Now a way to kind of think about it is that Ephesus was really quite a metropolis. I mean, if Rome is New York City, Ephesus is maybe Chicago. It had 100,000 people living here, which was an enormous amount of people for its time, and it had all of the things that a big Roman city would have had. But I mean, just things that tell you about how rich it was. Look at the absolutely beautiful quality of the marble here. So this was a very wealthy and well-known city. Something else to consider is that we know that Constantinople is the later Roman Empire. Constantine moves there in around the year 330. This is essentially like the Constantinople before that. This was the Eastern Roman city, the big city before that. And when Constantinople was established, this city began to decline because most people wanted to be where the emperor was. So in a way you can see it as an earlier version of that. That's one way to look at it. So as we walk over here, you can have a quick look at the baths. This city would have been enormous. Let's go ahead and kind of draw your imagination up the slope. All of the brush you see up there would have been part of the city. So houses upon houses. Same over here. You can see that there are houses here. These are excavated ones, but these houses would have continued way up to the base of the slope of the mountain there. So as we go into the bath complex, those of you that have traveled with me before, you can see some things you recognize. You can see at the end where those people are down there, that would have been probably a steam room. Here, these little niches on the side might have been for baths. Looks like they might have been different temperatures of baths. This is where, I loved how Taylan put it, this would have been the men's club of ancient Rome. I thought that was a really great, I haven't heard that kind of way of putting it, but that's so smart because it's true. It wasn't just that you would come and do exercise, get a massage, go in the pool, but it was also where you would do business. And it was men only, and they would come here and they would make their business deals as well. So you really can think of it as like a country club or a golf club, kind of very similar concept, which I love that because there is nothing new under the sun. People truly behave the same now as they have their whole lives, as they have throughout history. You know, people are surprisingly consistent in their behavior. So if we go out here, we can see a statue, and each of these niches might have had a statue. We've got door frames left. The walls probably would have been covered with marble, as you can see by the holes where the pins would have held the marble in place, and the rougher stones would probably have been plastered over with frescoes. And over here you can see what you might call Main Street. This is the main shopping street, and those archways over here, those would have been the back room of an elegant shopping portico. So you've got the columns in the front here, you see, column, column, all of that. You would have had a colonnade here, and then an archway, like a portico in a modern shopping area, and then each of these little shops here with their back storage room. So pretty much just the way we live life today. And I think that one of my guests on my tour put it the right way. She said this would have been the Rodeo Drive of Ephesus. Expensive shops. Lots of people here today. We hit Ephesus late in the afternoon because there were a lot of cruise ships in, but it's not terribly crowded. And honestly, when we see a lot of people in these sites, it gets a little frustrating, but remember, this is how it would have been here. If you'd have been here back in Roman times, this is what you would have seen. Crowded, packed with people from all over the world, different languages, different skin colors. That was the Eastern Roman Empire. It was the crossroads of civilization in the same way that Turkey is today. Something you should really know about Turkey is that it is one of the most important places to come and learn about if you want to understand European history or Eastern history, because it's the intersection. And it was like that back in the Roman times as well. So let's walk out this way. What a beautiful evening. It's about 75, 80 degrees here today. Perfect temperature. And I'm going to go see if I can find my group. Over here on the side of me in a second, you're going to get to see the Temple of Hadrian. Of course, he was an emperor, but emperors were made gods when they died. So, one of the most beautiful structures in Ephesus, which is dedicated to the great builder emperor Hadrian. And gorgeous marble floors. I love all the different qualities of marble you see in the columns here. And this complex, as I said, is all Roman houses that they've encased, which I think this is very clever to protect them with a roof. So Temple of Hadrian, as I mentioned. And down here I can see our group. And I think I know what they were looking at, so let's go and take a look. So I think a lot of people don't realize that Turkey is not just a place for Eastern culture, which I think a lot of us consider it that, but it's also has Greek ruins, Roman ruins, Anatolian ruins from the distant past, prehistoric past. So you get a little bit of everything here. All right, here's Taylan. So we're going to go over here for just a little detour before we rejoin our friends. Because we want to see something over here. Oh dear, it's pretty crowded in here. Here we have the latrines. You see there's the toilets. You have the upper marble slab here, and the side, and then the hole. So you'd sit on the top, and that little hole underneath, that's where they put a stick with a rag. And that's how they did public toilets. Okay. All right, let's go catch up with my group. Lots of people from Turkey here. There's been a lot of school groups and things like that here. So now we're approaching the library at Celsus. This is one of the most impressive Roman buildings that I can think of because it's pretty well preserved. 2 stories. And beyond that is the road to the amphitheater. So let's go have a little peek at what Taylan's talking about.
Right behind us, right in between, there's the main street, in between the library and the love house. So what kind of area is this? It's a different kind of an area. They also had these stores located upon this platform, the store, and behind it is the main agora. The commercial agora was located. So you can call this like a major junction, the main area of the whole city. Yes, the heart of the city. Easy to call it, the heart of the city.
And where's the harbour in relation to here?
That's a good question. Harbour is, you see those big trees, the pine trees, the top of it. Yeah. Behind it is actually the harbour, but it's still some ways. So if you walk straight on this road, past the theatre, on your right, the theatre is going to be to your right. Walk, continue, turn left from the theatre, you'll be at the harbour. And in 10 minutes, you'll be getting to the harbour. Walking from the theatre, in 10 minutes, you'll be getting to the harbour complex. It's actually where the harbour bath complexes are located. But there was also another connection from the agora to the harbour, which makes sense. Why? Agora is the market, yes. And harbour is where they bring all these goods or where they distribute all these goods. Don't forget, harbour also had a river connection. Why? Because a lot of the goods are coming from the Meander River. Do you remember? Meander River was used to bring all into this harbour, and from there into the agora, so that it will be exchanged or sold all around the Mediterranean. So all around the Mediterranean was the whole world, as they knew back then. So the whole world. This was a harbour that you could find goods to be delivered around the world. Any questions? This is a perfect place for a beautiful group picture with the background of this library. Library of Celsus, it's called, is one of the governors of the city. And there are 4 beautiful statues down there. Each one of them are symbolizing an intellectual concept. Sophia, arete, epistemi, anoia, wisdom, understanding, thought, and knowledge. Unfortunately, we have nothing remaining from the scrolls in this library, because all the scrolls have been given as a present to Cleopatra by Mark Antony, yes, together with the ones that they found in Pergamon, the library of Pergamon. Well, like 90,000 of them actually, she took, they say, with her to Alexandria. Alexandria, big fire of Alexandria. They are estimating about 200,000 of these books have gone destroyed. What can we do? We have no idea what we lost, but they say we would have been a lot more advanced. And I say we would only be using better iPhones.
He says as he's speaking into an iPhone.
Yeah. Okay. Are we getting a group picture?
Yeah.
All
Sure.
right, let's get a group picture.
All right.
Face towards this way. Stand behind me.
So we're going to go do a group picture, but I just wanted to give you a little taste of what we're seeing here in Ephesus. This is part of our Turquoise Coast of Turkey tour. It's a 10-day tour that starts in the south of Turkey on the coast. We started in Fethiye. We've just gone to Bodrum for 3 days. Now we are staying at a tiny little village near Ephesus that is up in the mountains above Celsus. Just an absolutely cute little place, a former Greek village. And then tomorrow we're going to head up north. We're going to stick along the coast and go eventually end up in Izmir at the end. So we've got about 5 more days left, and we're looking forward to sharing all of that with you. So live from Ephesus in Turkey, thanks for joining me for just a little wander around here, and stay tuned for more adventures.